thriller, take a good man and they change him to a villain. When the system's been set up by racists trying to kill him.
What's up, people? Welcome back to the BCMA podcast. That's the Black Clover Martial Arts podcast. It's your boy Lucky from Lucky's Muay Thai. This is episode number 90. It's pouring here in Miami. Flash flood watches, the whole nine. So after this, I'm going to navigate myself to the gym very carefully, and hopefully it's going to be a great night. We shall see. But in this show, we're going to talk about a few things. Conor versus Chandler. Is it happening? Who knows? Does anybody even care at this point? I suppose everybody does, but especially those people that bought all those tickets for International Fight Week and all that stuff. So I guess we'll talk a little bit about that. Chael versus Anderson Silva is this weekend. Boxing match. It's their third fight and maybe some redemption. I don't know. Craig Jones exposes the ADCC tournament. What does that mean? If you're into jiu-jitsu, you already know. This is some big deal, big news. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And last but definitely not least, we got a win. We'll talk about that, but our fighter did very well this weekend at the Freedom Fighters event, and super stoked. There's a few other things. But first, if you like the show, keep the like, hit the subscribe button, pass it along to a friend, let them know we have kids classes at the gym, jiu-jitsu. Obviously, our bread and butter is Muay Thai, and we have a fantastic program for all of those things. We have great coaches, great people around. It's a family atmosphere. It is definitely hard work. You can't come to this gym and expect like all the super frills. You know, we are definitely more authentic than most, and we make sure that you go through the effort and the work to become good at it, and not just, say great job. Anyway, if you want to try out the gym, hit us up, www.luckysmt.com. If you want to try jiu-jitsu, hit up Roberto Carrero, runs the jiu-jitsu program. He's amazing, at CarreroBJJ on Instagram. You can hit me up at Lucky's Muay Thai on Instagram. And we'd love to have you at the gym. Once again, www.luckysmt.com. Swing on by and give it a try. All right. First thing we have to talk about is our victory. Our fighter from the gym, Luis Viata. Nobody knows how to pronounce his last name. We do our best. He fought this weekend. It was his actual amateur debut. He's done a few tournaments, and he performed brilliantly. Just did everything that you want out of a fighter making a debut on a pretty big show. Freedom Fighters is pretty big, and I'm just stoked that we got a victory, and a lot of people from the gym came out to see it, so that was great. Shout out to them for being supportive, and to Lewis for putting in all this hard work. He's like one of the guys that you have to kick him out of the gym kind of person. So I love it. Jacob did a good job in the corner. Like, everybody did great. Broccoli, who is also a fighter at the gym, he spent a lot of time working with Lewis, so shout out to Broccoli. Like, it was awesome. Even Wifey put together the corner tray, because usually she corners with us, but they wouldn't allow us 3. So she sat this one out, but she made sure everything was organized, and that was super helpful as well. So all in all, super stoked about the victory. It was a great weekend, and glad to be back in the winning column, and more to come in the future. Okay, let's get after it. Conor versus Chandler. So there's been all this talk. Everybody's been excited about it. First, there was no talk about it. Then there was like, oh my God, it's here. We're going to start bringing it up a lot. And then all of a sudden, you have different media outlets saying that there is some trouble in paradise, so to speak. And then within 24 hours of that, there's no trouble in paradise. And then I get up this morning and I'm scrolling and I see, they're looking for replacements and this and that. I don't know what is going on with Conor and Chandler. All I can say for Chandler is don't stop training, stay focused. Conor, on the other hand, he could be playing mind games. He could be doing like, I'm not training, so maybe you should just chill. And meanwhile, he's training his ass off. The other thing I found interesting was like all of these all of these MMA figures were basically doing the same like podcast about Conor. And maybe that's just they saw the same thing. They saw the training stuff and they were like, we got to talk about this. But Michael Bisping, Demetrius Johnson, Tim Welch, who's the coach for Sean O'Malley, if you don't know, they all did basically the same, at least the YouTube thumbnail was Conor looks sharp. Conor looks great. Conor looks like this. And I was like, wow. And they even look sort of similar, all of the YouTube thumbnails. And I was like, man, that if it wasn't designed that way, it was one hell of a coincidence. And very interesting that they feel like he looks great, but we don't really know. You saw some sparring footage. You don't know who the guy sparring is. Like, you also saw him partying. So what do we take from? Can you critique the partying and the sparring-ish thing? I mean, how was he doing on the dance floor? Because he looked like he was having a great freaking time. So I don't know, man. They say he was injured. He's not injured. I don't know if that fight's going to happen at all. If you bought tickets for International Fight Week specifically for that fight, I hope it works out, man. Because, besides having all the money you need, even a small injury when you have that kind of money might just be like, you know what? Why do I need to do this? I don't need to do this. I mean, for rep, yes, you want to get in there for all that stuff, but like, it's not the money, and you've already got everything you need. So I don't know what's going to happen, but the word on the street is that it's maybe a no-go. But there's also word on the street that Pereira versus Yuri has been signed, and I don't know when that's going to happen, but who knows? Next up, Chael Sonnen, Anderson Silva. I think this is going to be a great fight for both of them in Brazil. It's Anderson's retirement fight. It's a great chance for redemption for Chael Sonnen, and it's a great way to close out not just the chapter with Chael, but just to close out his combat sports fighting chapter of his life. And I think Anderson Silva and Chael both deserve to go out this way, in a cool way, not like under everybody else's expectations in an MMA cage and doing all this extra yapping and whatnot. I feel like this is a great way for two veterans to go out, boxing match in Brazil. Gonna have a great time, I'm sure, with the families and so forth. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. If I was to choose, I would say Anderson Silva by decision. Chael's a tough guy, but Anderson definitely can decision him. What else we got? Other boxing news, real quick. Gervonta Davis is fighting Frank Martin. They had the grand entrances. Gervonta did not show up. He was seen jogging because people that are obsessed and motivated do not like to do interviews, press conferences, any of that stuff. Generally, they only want to train. And, Frank Martin's no slouch, but obviously everybody knows who Gervonta Davis is. So that should be a banger. I can't wait to see it. Adrian Broner got his tooth knocked out. And I love that Adrian became a world champion before all of this stuff. I think 2-time world champion. But nonetheless, I don't like to see fighters struggle, particularly because fighting is already a struggle. Now, whatever his outside the ring stuff is, it doesn't even matter because it's already hard enough. And to consistently go through these basically downward moments, even when you have some good training camps, etc., it's heartbreaking for us at least some of us as consumers to watch, because we really want to see you, even if you didn't win the fight, we'd like to have seen you be really successful. And yeah, it's tough, man. So shout out to Adrian Broner. Cobb put a beating on him pretty much throughout the fight. And, it is what it is, man. Onward and upward. I hope that he decides whatever he needs to do, and hopefully he comes back, he gets a win. It's not that he's too old. He can definitely keep doing this for a little bit longer, maybe get some wins and go out on a high note. Wishful thinking for Adrian Broner. Everybody's kind of like, yo, man, it is what it is at this point. Everybody's giving him second chance, third chance, fourth chance, fifth chance. I just don't want to, I wish the best for him, man. I hope he does well in the future, whatever the case may be. Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal had another press conference and yet another spectacle. This time Nate didn't just walk out. They actually got into a brawl. Masvidal with Nate Diaz's camp, some pushing, shoving, punches thrown, whatever. And I still don't know how interested people are in this fight. Now, I am, just because, They fought before. We know who they are. They're veterans of the fight game, and people that we've watched over the years that have made some impact on MMA and so forth, and clearly in combat sports. So yeah, I want to see the fight. But as far as getting people hyped for it, I don't know that I've heard that kind of chatter. Like, people are really stoked about it. But maybe by the time the fights actually happen, it'll be a much bigger deal. We'll see. Jake Paul is now fighting Mike Perry because Mike Tyson is out. That was postponed. Apparently, they're supposed to make an announcement that Mike Perry and Jake Paul are going to fight. This is a fight that other people have asked for. I don't know if this is true or not. We shall see. But God, that's a fight. Jake Paul will be forced to actually fight. He won't just be able to box. He will have to fight. And Mike Perry, he gets hit too. He don't mind. So it's not as if that Jake Paul can't land that fucking bomb he has in his hand, which he can line people up for pretty well. He doesn't have a lot of great skills other than that, but that skill is pretty good. Got a banger of a cross. But Mike Perry's gonna, if it's in Jake Paul, Mike Perry will 100% bring it out of him. So we shall see. Let's see here. Craig Jones Invitational exposes ADCC. The only exposing I would say really is happening is that there's clearly money around to be had for jiu-jitsu athletes and competitors, and you just have to go get it and then give it to the athletes. Craig Jones didn't do anything crazy. He found somebody that was willing to give him $1 million and said they're going to do a lot of this for charity. Basically said, I'm going to pay you guys what you would have won in ADCC just to show up and compete. And you have a chance to winning a ton of money after that. So, is it ADCC or Craig Jones Invitational? If you're a jiu-jitsu competitor and you've already done ADCC, even if you've won, if you've placed, whatever the case may be, and there's money on the line on the same day at another tournament, you're going to do the other tournament. Like, I have to win, I have to beat all these people to get 10 grand. Or I can just go show up to the tournament and get 10 grand. And then potentially get whatever it is, another 90 or whatever. I think it's like 100 grand per division or something. But like, I don't know if it'll happen again. They're talking about it. It's going to go on. We're going to do it again next year, whatever the case may be. Even if it doesn't, for the jiu-jitsu competitors there and that are receiving the dough and the recognition, it is worth it for the eyes to be on this competitive nature of these two tournaments now. It's worth it. It also hopefully will bring more money to jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu competitors. It won't allow people to just be like, hey, we just don't have the money. Sorry, we don't have the money. There are ways to make the money for people to get paid. There always is. People, you can always find a way, and you can always find a way to even make it small amounts of money, and it becomes more over time. But anyway, Craig Jones Invitational is going to be the same day as ADCC. They're offering $1 million, $10,000 to just compete. They already got Fionn Davies, Nicky Ryan, the Tackett brothers, and numerous others. Craig Jones is going to compete as well against Gabby Garcia, which is something was joking. It was something that's been talked about for a long time, and I guess it's actually going to happen now. And if you know Gabby, she is not a small lady, and it should be interesting. So I'm looking forward to this tournament. I'm also looking forward to ADCC. That being said, I had a great time doing this show. I hope you enjoyed it. I got to go to work now in this horrible weather. Hopefully some people show up to train with me. I love y'all. If you want to stop by the gym, hit us up, www.luckysmt.com. You know the deal. Drop us a line at Lucky's Muay Thai on Instagram. Drop Roberto Carrero a line for Jiu-Jitsu at Carrero BJJ on Instagram. And I love y'all, man. Peace.
When the system's been set up by racists trying to kill them. I just want to live my life and make a couple million.